Our following speaker has over 20 years of experience in deep tech and clean tech. He's the founder of Advanced Technology Partners, ATP. One of his areas of expertise is AI, quantum physics, and devices. Has been working in the kingdom since 2015 with King Abdullah City for atomic and renewable energy and Siemens, where he was SVP for technology and innovation. Speaking about quantum cybersecurity, please welcome Mazhar Ali Bari, Senior Partner and Founder, Advanced Technology Partners.
So, assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to present something about quantum physics and quantum cybersecurity to you this morning. So my purpose here today is just to raise awareness about quantum cybersecurity, the benefits, the impact, whether it's positive or negative, and just to make you aware of what's out there or what's coming in the next 4, 5, 6 years. So I'll describe briefly what is a quantum computer, applications, the value chain, what's available today, who's doing what, what's the state of the art, and then talk a little bit about the impact on cybersecurity, public key encryption, and what are the things that the governments of the world are doing today to prepare for this post-quantum future. And then I'll give some advice towards the end about how our organizations can prepare themselves. My own background, have worked in very advanced materials and quantum physics, superconductors, spin electronics, and these are all key elements and materials which can be used to make quantum systems. So actually, my PhD almost 30 years ago at the University of Cambridge was actually fabricating high-temperature superconductors and devices or qubits. And I never thought I would be here 30 years later talking about that topic, but there you go. So what is a quantum computer? The best way to explain this is to explain what is a classical computer. A classical computer, as you know, uses bits, zeros and ones. So this is a binary system. It's very complicated, it's very simple. You know, things can exist either yes or no, 0 or 1. Now, a quantum system is quite different. In fact, it's not what we're used to at all. Instead of bits, we have qubits, or quantum bits. And these can represent both 0 and 1, and anything else in between. So if you look at this picture on the right-hand side of the qubit, we have a property called superposition. So the state can exist in multiple places at all times. So it offers huge, almost infinite possibilities of where states can be. So it's very counterintuitive to what we're used to today, but this is the property of qubits. And the benefit of this is that it vastly increases computational power by a huge amount. It's like AI and steroids, right? You can't even imagine. So you can really tackle very complex problems which are impossible for classical computers to do today. And the underlying science is simply quantum physics, which is a little over 100 years old. And the concepts like superposition and entanglement play a key role. Now, this picture on the right-hand side here looks like a chandelier, right? So one of the companies, and indeed the technology I was working on during my PhD, was making these devices at very low temperatures. When you make a device, you have to cool it down to very low temperatures, and cryogenic temperatures, almost absolute zero. And therefore, you attach your device at the bottom, and this is all the wiring that goes to the control room, and all this system goes into a cryostat at very low temperatures, because interference from the environment is not good for quantum computers and makes them noisy, and I will talk about that later on as well. So this is the famous chandelier picture, and I have a video later on which will show you what that looks like in more detail. So what's the impact of this technology? Actually, the impact will be almost in every field, every industry, will benefit from this technology. And it will probably be the most disruptive technology in our lifetime in this century, far beyond AI is doing today. So there are many application areas like quantum simulation, quantum linear algebra, quantum optimization, factorization, and of course, cybersecurity as well. For sure, it will impact sectors like finance, industry, intelligence agencies, oil and gas. Every sector will be impacted by this huge ability for computation. So with current technology, we largely look at the past. With quantum technology, we'll be looking to the future and be able to predict things that we have not been able to do before. This is a typical quantum value chain. It looks complicated, but there's only 3 parts. You have the hardware, the software, and the end applications. In the next few slides, I will talk a little bit about which companies are operating in this space. There's about 20 or 30 companies who are making quantum computers today, mostly low-temperature devices or room-temperature devices. And I'll give 2 examples of those. So, as I mentioned, qubits, how many qubits can we produce today? About 10 years ago, it was probably around 5 or 10 or 20. But now the technology is advancing, and companies are able to make a few hundred and hopefully a few thousand qubits in the next few years. But there is one fundamental problem with the technology today. It's noisy, because qubits are very sensitive to the environment, to interference, and they become decoherent. So this produces noise and errors in the system. So noise in quantum gates, in quantum computers, limit the ability of the quantum circuit to be, for algorithms to be executed reliably. They're still not bad, and the technology is improving. So proper commercial quantum computers will need hundreds of thousands of qubits that are error-free. And people predict that we will reach that stage probably in the next 3 to 6, 7 years. So once we master fault-tolerant computing, this opens the door to large-scale supercomputers. So there are many companies operating in this space, the big companies and the small companies. I will highlight 2 in particular. This one here is by Intel, who are making their system based on advanced semiconductors and tunnel devices. And the next slide will be from IBM, which is a low-temperature device. So just to give you a flavor. I hope the audio is working and you can see this. So the nice thing about the Intel approach is that it's using conventional semiconductor technology, and therefore you can scale up quite rapidly, very fast, right? So that's the benefit of that room temperature system. Even those room temperature systems still have to be cold or cooled down in order to reduce the error rates in the system. This technology here is similar to the one I used to work on. It's on superconductors, so therefore it has to be, so this chandelier picture I showed you earlier, it has to be in a cryostat. But IBM are probably one of the world leaders in quantum computing of this technology at the moment. So let me share this video with you.
Introducing the IBM Quantum System 2, the building block of quantum-centric supercomputing. Quantum System 2 isn't just a standalone system. It was designed to be extensible, supporting up to 4,158 qubits with additional control racks added. It was also designed to be modular, so multiple Quantum System 2s can connect cryostats with long-range couplers connecting the processors, supporting up to 8,316 qubits, and with 3 System 2s, a remarkable 16,632 qubits. In a data center environment, Classical or AI racks can be swapped out to extend the computational capacity of the system. We will be unveiling our first working system at the Quantum Summit in late 2023. Thank you.
So that just gives you a flavor of some of the technologies out there, and there are others as well. And the interesting thing is today, the route to market for these companies to make quantum computing available to you is by installing these systems in a data center, right? So companies like AWS, if you go online, you will be able to access several companies' quantum computers. The number of qubits are still very small, but today still you're able to access for a small fee, as little as $10, you can access the quantum computing qubits, and if you know how to program them, you can do calculations and simulations at a small scale. Microsoft, on their Azure platform, also have their own quantum computing system, and that's what they offer, whereas AWS's business model is to offer multiple quantum computing platforms on the cloud. So this is amazing. I mean, this is really quite incredible. So today, for as little as $10, anybody in the world can begin to access and to play around with quantum computers. And this is a typical kind of stack that's involved. You have, of course, the quantum hardware, the controls, the architecture framework, the algorithms, and the applications. So there's a lot of detail. And it is interesting that currently, if you want to use a quantum computer, you have to go through a classical computer. That's the current state of the art. But probably in the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully, inshallah, you will have a complete sort of quantum computing experience with no classical computer in between. So how does this impact cybersecurity? So we've seen that quantum computers can offer a huge amount of computational power, right? And there are some great benefits for this as well. And the physics of the quantum computing enables you, so you can leverage the principles of quantum mechanics to create codes which are unbreakable by anybody, right? So therefore, you can have secure communications, et cetera, et cetera. So quantum technology also provides an opportunity to develop the very advanced encryption techniques that are quantum resistant. But on the same hand, at the same time, in the hand of bad actors, they can also use the technology for other means as well. So really, it's important to understand what's available, what are the limitations, and what kind of threats are coming in the future. So quantum threats to current cybersecurity. So there is a very famous algorithm developed by Peter Shor, and he showed that you could actually break some of the current encryption technologies using quantum algorithms. So really, quantum computing has the potential to render all current encryption technologies obsolete. So you can imagine what kind of power you would have if you could do that. And of course, quantum computers in cybersecurity pose a threat to data privacy legislation around the world as well. And you could be prone to quantum malware, which could be developed by hackers. So the big question is, when will this happen? No one really knows, but I would predict it's probably in the next 3 to 7 years. So probably within this decade, these kind of things will start to happen. So as you all know, public key encryption today relies on very hard mathematical problems like integer factorization, discrete algorithms, and elliptic curve logarithms. So all of these can be broken by quantum algorithms. And this lady, Angela from NIST, she made this statement a few years ago: our whole digital world today is relying on quantum vulnerable algorithms. So once we have advanced error-free quantum computers, nothing is safe. At the same time, as I mentioned before, you can still use the same technology to devise even more advanced counter cybersecurity software and algorithms as well. So the question I always ask my friends is, if you have two quantum computers, who will win, right? And it's not clear. So how does quantum computing impact cryptography and security. So cryptographic keys can be broken quickly by a quantum computer, right? And this allows eavesdroppers to listen into private communications and even pretend to be somebody that they're not. Why? Because quantum computers can do this very quickly by reverse calculating or guessing secret cryptographic keys, which is a task that's almost impossible for classical computers. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. People are working to address this problem. We call this post-quantum cryptography, PQC. So cryptographers are designing new algorithms for a time when quantum computers become a threat. So NIST in the USA, ETSI in Europe, and other institutions are trying to tackle this problem and developing new algorithms that can be post-quantum safe. The big problem is, if you're a hacker, you don't have to wait. You can get data now and wait until the technology is available. So that's called harvest now and decrypt later, right? And in the USA, I mean, you can see how serious this problem is. Joe Biden signed the Quantum Computing Cybersecurity Preparedness Act into law just 6 months ago. And they want all agencies to list all the systems that could be vulnerable to quantum computers and figure out how to upgrade them. So this is quite real. So there is a potential quantum threat out there, apart from all the benefits it can also offer. And really, the fundamental point is that classical computers take a very long time to encrypt, to break encryption, whereas quantum computers can do it in minutes. And this problem, steal now, decrypt later, is real. So what should you do? Number one, be aware. Number two, monitor what's happening, that there is a transition that will happen from classical computing to quantum computing in the next few years. And it's time to collaborate and to work and to invest and to understand the risk. And one fundamental thing is to start a quantum cybersecurity assessment. That's almost the starting point. In the USA, agencies like the NSA and CSS, they're advising people what to do, right? How to prepare for the implementation of post-quantum cryptography, by establishing a quantum readiness roadmap, engage with technology vendors to discuss the post-quantum roadmaps, and conduct an inventory to identify and understand the systems and assets, and create migration plans that prioritize the most sensitive information that you have in your organizations and critical assets that you need to protect. So please learn how to make your organization quantum safe. Quantum computers, when they arrive, will be able to break into almost any cybersecurity protocol. And data considered secure today may already be at risk because of the harvest now and decrypt later schemes. So act now to begin your transformation to quantum safe cryptography. Thank you very much.